Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Divine Union podcast. And if it's your first time joining us today, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here because today we're talking all about how to break free from people pleasing and to live in your most authentic expression. And it feels like a resonant topic for me this week as I'm navigating a crunchy situation with somebody that I unintentionally um, overstepped a boundary of theirs in a way. And, there are some comments about my intention and my integrity that didn't feel good. It didn't feel true. It didn't feel aligned. And some things said about me I didn't appreciate. And looking at the part of me that desires to have people see me in the way that I see myself, see me for the heart that I have, the good heart that I have, and the pureness of my intention in that moment, and not being received in that way. And people pleasing. Why am I speaking about people pleasing? Because this people pleaser energy, and former people pleaser, I still have that in me though. But that energy of wanting to be liked and by everybody, wanting to be approved of by people in a specific moment. We don't have to box ourselves in, I'm a people pleaser or I'm not, or I used to be. No, okay, maybe in these moments that aspect of you comes up. And so it's this feeling of, I want you to like me. I want you to see me. I want you to validate me. I want you to see me how I see myself. And when you don't, then I take it personal or I try to change the situation or change you, or I feel guilty or I blame myself for not doing something right that's getting you to change how you view me. But the truth is, when we go into that people pleaser energy and we think that we can truly change someone's mind, if we're doing all we can and we're speaking from our heart and we're operating in alignment and integrity with who we be and the intention behind who we be and how we behave, that's all we can do, and not trying to change it. Because when we try to change it, we try to force something that's out of our control. And it's this false sense of control. And that breeds grief, that breeds disappointment, dissatisfaction, because you're not going to please everybody. And that's forgetting the fact that when we relate with other people, the other person brings their own trigger, their own experiences, their own biased lens that impacts how they receive you. And if you always put the way someone receives you as an onus on you, well, that's not gonna work. Because we're biased individuals. Everyone's biased. It's a product of their experience, their product of their traumas, their triggers, the way they see the world, how other people treat them, their own shadows that they might not even be aware of that drive their behavior at a subconscious level. There's always deeper dynamics too when people carry resentments. Why is this person always got a chip on their shoulder when it comes to me? Where does that come from? What's beneath that? Competition, jealousy, what is it? And you don't have to figure it out. Sometimes it's interesting to think about these things, but I try my best not to let that get like affect my mental space, because the truth is, like, those kinds of things, people need to clear it themselves. We can do all we can do, and we should try our absolute best when we relate with people to relate. This is why I say, from a place of integrity and alignment and heart. I'm speaking my heart and I see you. And even if you treat me in a way that's disrespectful, I'm still going to speak from my heart because that feels good. And this is how I honor the kingdom. This is how I honor God, the God in me, the higher God that I serve, is by, I'm going to not stoop to any level just because. I'm going to hold that frequency. But, not but, I don't like the but. And it's knowing that you can't always change how someone views you. This is why so many of us long to be seen and we don't feel seen because we think that we can control how someone sees us instead of, I don't need you to see me because I see me, because God sees me. And that's the only thing that matters. Really, the only thing that matters. And this is intimacy, intimacy with self. Because above all else, we need to know ourselves before we relate with anyone else. How can someone trust us if we are not integrous with who we be, if we don't act in alignment with our values, if we give people advice but we don't take it? Who are we then? The most valuable thing that we can do for ourselves in our life is be an embodiment of our values. Instead of I'm going to spend my time telling this person how to behave, no, I'm going to spend my time checking in with myself. If this is what I tout, do I embody it? And this is how I can only trust the people that embody what they teach. Like the few people in my life whose advice I may seek from time to time, which only, by the way, comes after I have my own insights, and then it's curious your thoughts on that. But when you're really working through something, that comes from within, or that comes from your connection to God, source, faith. Because if you don't have that, then you're sourcing it externally to anyone and everyone that you ask advice for. But the few people in my life that when I do, I am curious about an opinion, it's only people that embody what they teach. Otherwise, I can't trust you. I want to see how you live your life. And living in integrity, living in authenticity, I always love to add for me, because so many people out there are like, speak your truth, be authentic. And then it's this excuse to be like wild and I'm untamed. I like this word untamed, but to a point where it can maybe be damaging to other people or you're penetrating them with your energy. This is who I am. I'm authentic. If you're not okay with it, I speak my mind. But yeah, it's like, okay, be mindful in how you communicate with somebody. Like, are you connected to your heart? Or are you just like penetrating them with like your ideas and thoughts and what's on your mind? And it's really speaking from that place of love and understanding. People always tout compassion, like have compassion, be understanding. It's like, okay, how do you embody compassion? In how you communicate to somebody, and how you communicate to another human being, and how you communicate to yourself, and how you give someone advice. Are you embodying that compassion? Because we're all mirrors for each other. We all want to be seen, and we all want we all want to be seen, and we all should see people. Mm, let me feel into that one. We all want to be seen, and everyone wants us to see them. There we go. That's the flip. That's the flip. It feels good to feel seen in our humanity. And we're always like, oh, yeah, I want you to see me for my differences. No, it's because we're all the same. So we want resonance. That's what feels good. Yes, I'm a people pleaser in this moment. And yes, you probably know what it also feels like to want to be loved and liked and accepted as you are. But when we sacrifice our integrity and our authenticity, or we lower ourselves at the expense to make someone feel better or to win their love, that's an unhealthy dynamic. And this is why I hate when people use shame and blame, you really should do this, and in the ways that they give you feedback or in conflict, because that doesn't get someone to authentically repair. Yeah. And when we shame and we blame, it's forcing someone to try to see your point of view, but it's not coming from authenticity and integrity. So never fall prey and victim to that. And if you do, then it's like, oh, where am I people pleasing? And come back. Where is integrity? Where is truth? What is my truth? How do I communicate that truth to someone? But also, how do I stay in my heart as I do it? And staying in your heart, by the way, doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to let someone who's berating me or abusing me verbally or emotionally or physically. Doesn't mean I'm going to be around that. But staying in your heart still means, okay, I'm going to still speak with love. Because honestly, if you don't speak with love, you're not going to have an impact with people. This is why I love communication. It's all about really, you want to have an impact, you want to have an influence, which our relationships are our biggest source of fulfillment and health, according to the Harvard study of adult development. So great. And what impacts fulfillment? Your ability to have an impact on people. If you're living your life and no one cares what you have to say, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your child, your friends, your clients, you don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel a value of service to the collective. We all want to be able to have an impact and an influence. And how do you do that? It's through your communication. It's being connected to the heart and doing it with authenticity and integrity and assertiveness in your communication. And that takes reflection, that takes thought, that takes not responding out of trigger or anger or frustration. Sometimes you got to let challenges land. You got to simmer on them. You got to meditate on them. People pleasing. I don't think I've ever sang on a podcast episode before. Or I don't think I've ever sang about people pleasing either. So that's a first. You're welcome. And let's give that one. Let me try that one more time. Let's make it more of an enjoyable one for a little bedtime story. People pleasing is not a fun thing to do. You are bound to be disappointed and sad. So instead, focus on pleasing yourself and fueling your heart and serving the Most High, that is God. If you like that one, shoot me a DM. I would love to hear it. Yeah. And there you have it. People pleasing, how to ditch it and how to be as authentic as possible. And really tuning into the heart, what feels true, what feels aligned, and checking in with your integrity. Am I in integrity? Am I operating according to my values? Did I in that moment? And trying to see people. So, like if someone shares something, oh, it hurt me when you did this. Oh, it overstepped a boundary of mine when you did this, when you said this. Then it's like, think about it. Okay, how do I validate this person? And then maybe in a separate message, how did that land for me when you spoke to me that way? Didn't feel good in these ways. And focus on repair, focus on bridging the connection. Because it never wants to be, this is my opinion, this is my opinion. No, who cares? The point is to bridge connection. Otherwise, every single conflict you have, you're going to rupture a relationship, and that's not sustainable. So, this was a pleasure of a riff. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Actually, I'm going to say I trust. I have a whole thing with hope. I really hate the hope because to me it comes from like longing and kind of subtle manipulation. Like, I hope you're doing the right thing. I hope you respond with this kind of energy. I hope you did that. It's like, no, I trust. I trust. that this landed for the right people today. I trust that you got what you needed from listening to this episode. And I trust that you're going to reach out with your feedback. You're going to reach out with your feedback. You're going to give us an epic review if you loved this episode. And I trust that I will see you next week. So have a beautiful, beautiful day. I look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, may all your unions be divine.